On March 1st, shortly after noon, Robert Bursick was driving his car through Lake Elmo on Highway 36. He stopped for a red light. While waiting for the light to change, maybe he was thinking about his wife or one of his 4 children. Maybe he was thinking about his nursery and greenhouse business back in Turtle Lake. Or maybe thinking about an upcoming class at North Hennepin Community College or Oak Park Heights Correctional Facility where he taught biology. As he sat at the red light, Samuel Hicks was driving his semi-trailer in the same direction on Highway 36. And he crashed that semi-trailer into the car of Mr. Bursick, who was still stopped at the red light. And this is what happened. The semi-trailer was traveling 63 miles an hour when it hit the car with no evidence of braking before impact. The semi hit Mr. Bursick's car so hard that the make and model of the car was unrecognizable to law enforcement. Mr. Bursick was killed instantly. According to the rear and front-facing cameras of the semi and Mr. Hicks's own statements, he was looking at his phone for the 8 seconds prior to the crash, texting his girlfriend and using an app to check on a piece of real estate. According to the video, Mr. Hicks did not look up until after impact. I repeat today what I said in a similar homily back in October 2015, put the phone down. It is dangerous, it is illegal, and it is sinful. Texting and driving is unnecessary and puts many, many lives at risk. Such behavior demonstrates pride and selfishness, for it says to everybody else on the road, my text, my phone call, my post, my search is more important than your life. Put the phone down. That text, that posting, that phone call, that search for real estate, or whatever it may be, can wait. None are as important as your lives or the lives of your passengers or the lives of everybody else on the road. Put the phone down and keep it down. In our gospel today, we meet the man born blind. In the ancient world, blindness was equated with sinfulness. Whose sin was it that the man was born blind? The apostles asked Jesus. You were born totally in sin. The Pharisees accused the man born blind. But Jesus said to the apostles, being born blind is not the result of sin. But when we text and drive, when we purposely become blind in our driving, then there is a connection between blindness and sin. When we text and drive or engage in any form of distracted driving, we are driving blind. 5 seconds is the average time our eyes are off the road while texting. If you're going 55 miles an hour, 5 seconds is enough to cover the length of a football field. Would you ever close your eyes and drive 100 yards with your eyes closed? No. But that's exactly what we're doing when we drive and text, and it's sinful. In the Lake Elmo crash, the driver of the semi was going 63 miles an hour and looking at his phone for 8 seconds. And so we're going to do a little experiment here. Everybody close your eyes. And imagine driving with your eyes closed at 63 miles an hour down a busy highway like Highway 36. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008. You just drove 740 feet with your eyes closed. That's the length of 2 football fields. And you're behind the wheel of this powerful weapon called a semi. Young people, I repeat the plea I made to young people back in October of 2015. Do not text and drive. Do not drink and drive. Do not smoke pot and drive. Don't do those things anyway, but certainly don't do them and get behind the wheel of a car. Don't get into a car with a person who drinks or smokes or texts while he or she drives. Call your parents to come and get you. Explain what's going on. Your parents would much rather receive a call from you than a call from the police or the hospital or the morgue. Accidents happen. They can happen to you like they happened to Mr. Bursick. They happen very quickly, and they can change lives forever. Parents and adults, we need to do a much better job of practicing what we preach about safe driving. A few days after the Lake Elmo crash, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety reported that 7,357 tickets for texting and driving were issued last year, up 23% from the year before, and up 331% from 5 years ago. That is a lot of blindness on our road. That is a lot of unnecessary and very dangerous sin, and some of that sin results in death and injuries. And Mr. Bursick is now listed as a victim of that sin. He was 54 years old as he sat at that stoplight in Lake Elmo, husband, father, teacher, employer. I read his obituary. It reported that he was the life of the party, who loved fishing, camping, teaching, watching sports, being with people. He was an incredible dad who loved creating fun for his children and coaching their sports. And now he's dead because of 8 seconds of willful blindness. The driver of the semi, a father himself of 2 children, now faces prison. All of this because he chose to drive and text. Because he chose to drive while blind. Because he chose to sin. We have the story of the man born blind in Lent as an invitation to acknowledge that some of our habits and behaviors blind us from seeing and loving God and our neighbor. One very practical way we can better see and love God and neighbor is to take our eyes off our phones and put them back on the road where they belong. The day after the crash in Lake Elmo, the head of the state patrol said of texting and driving, enough is enough. We've been to too many of these needless, senseless accidents where we have to pry people out of their cars. Indeed, enough is enough. And so let us make this 4th Sunday in Lent of 2018 the day we truly repent of that self-imposed sin of blindness and choose to be people of light, to regain our sight on the road. Put down the phone.